What is up, guys? So, right now it's been almost 3 months since I had my surgery, and I am now finally able to walk. So, I can't train this leg yet. The only thing I can do is some therapeutic workouts. So, that's what I'm going to show you today. What I've been doing, my recovery, and giving you guys some tips in order to help recover if you have a similar injury, some mobility, and things like that. So just stay tuned, and I'll show you what I'm going to be eating right now. It's also going to be a good idea for you to stay hydrated a lot, just because the muscle requires to be hydrated, and it also puts you at a better mood. So don't mind my dusty ass water bottle, because I just need water. So right now I'm just starting off with 4 eggs right now, and that's just to get some protein in the morning. And I'm trying to stray away from having any powders, like protein powders, because I'm saving that more so at the end of the day versus like having it straight in the morning. Now this is just my preference, but you don't have to do what I do necessarily. It's just again my preference. So here we go. Yes. Let's see if it'll make that fort sound. Yep. So before I wasn't really a big fan of ketchup at all. Like I kid you not, I would not have it on anything. Like let's say ketchup and fries, I would not have ketchup. I would just eat the fries plain. You could hate me for that, but that was just me. But I just now recently started using ketchup with my eggs just to give it like more flavor, because as you saw I only put salt on it, so there's not much flavor in it by itself. So I decided to use ketchup, and yes, it's because I watched a Chris Bumstead video, and overall I wasn't fond of it at first, but I started picking up on the taste, and I started liking the flavor. And I'm just mashing it up right now, but it's a bloody mess. Yeah. But I'll eat that, and I'll go ahead and show you guys some workouts. And this will just again help you with recovery, gain some mobility, and overall not make your life a living hell. Alright, so what I'm about to show you right now is just the vitamins that I'm taking. And when talking about vitamins, you do not need them. It's not a staple to have them in your diet, but I take them because it just gives me that 1 inch of help towards like fully recovering, and also just like overall health. So like fish oil, it helps with heart, joint, and skin health. We have collagen C, which is hair, skin, nails, and joints. D3 for bone growth. Magnesium, which you can also use for bone growth, or let's say you're having muscle cramps, that helps with reducing the amount of cramps that you're getting in a certain time period. And zinc for immune health. So again, these aren't like necessary for your health or anything. You can get these by eating any kinds of food that just have these kind of effects on your body. It's just an easier way of consuming them, and as well as just overall getting them in a certain amount of doses. So overall, if you don't want to take it, then don't take it. I'm taking it just because. So you do you. It is at this moment where I'm watching Brandon Harding watching a Chris Bumstead video, and vice versa, where Chris Bumstead could possibly be watching Brandon Harding's videos, and maybe, just maybe, one day, Brandon might watch my videos, or Chris might even watch my videos. But at this point, I don't know. A guy can only dream, right? Right? Think about it, it's kind of like a time paradox. We're like in a universe where we are watching the other person from the past in a present time. And they're watching you, and you're watching them back. I think you know where I'm going with this, right? Right? Alright, so I'm at the park right now, and I'm just deciding to take a walk. And overall, my doctor recommended me that I would take a walk. So that way, like, he explained this to me. So bones, they like compression and they grow under pressure. So the more that you walk on, let's say, a broken bone, then the more compression it will have, and in that area that it breaks, you would end up slowly picking up more bone growth overall. But I'm only able to do this because I have a rod in my bone. So if you didn't have surgery specifically for the placement of like a tibia nail, which is what I had, then I wouldn't recommend you doing something like what I'm doing right now, unless your doctor tells you. So right now I'm just getting some cardio in, which is walking, and having some air, like fresh air, sunlight, and just making sure that I am moving my legs, because if you do not move, then essentially what happens is your legs start to atrophy at a faster rate, which is what happens with some people. Like a friend of ours, cousin, they essentially broke their leg during a motorcycle accident, and the dude was afraid of stepping on that leg, so he didn't want it to walk. And what ended up happening was he was bedridden for months, not being able to walk properly, if not at all. And so they needed to also replace the rod that they initially placed in his leg. So that also contributed to like a lot of issues with his leg, and this could have been avoided had he been like actually starting to train and move his legs accordingly. Because after surgery, what ends up happening, you get a lot of scar tissue. And so with scar tissues, for me personally, my knee wasn't able to bend as much, and I literally needed to go ahead and move my leg accordingly in order to get it to bend even at 90 degrees, which was kind of tough for me to do at first. So take that into consideration. if you're injured right now to make sure you're moving your leg, because if not, then you're gonna be stuck with the issue of barely being able to move, which is something my doctor even told me. Like, he has some patients that that are afraid of moving that injured leg or any injury at that we're discussing right now. They're afraid of moving it because of the pain that it may cause, which in turn, you have some people who can't, like, once they're fully healed, they can't, let's say for their arm, they can't fully lock out like this. Or in my case, let's say they broke their leg, they wouldn't be able to fully extend their leg out like this. So that's just, again, heed my warning, take my advice, don't take my advice. This is just what I'm telling you, and this is what's helped me recover. But overall, just to like dive into what I personally did at first, I had to elevate my leg in order for the blood to actually flow back down into my heart and start circulating more. And what I ended up noticing was the fact that each night I would ice my leg. So icing any injury only helps when it's painful. It doesn't aid in recovery that much. Now listen to me carefully. That much, as in, like, the healing process requires inflammation. And when you ice an injury, you're taking away that inflammation factor. So I would understand, as well as everyone else, if you're in excruciating pain, go ahead and ice it. I'm not saying not to. But what I noticed after icing for like 2, almost 3 weeks, the second that I stopped icing, I felt a whole lot more better. Because literally, I felt that with icing my injury, I was having a very tough time actually bending my leg because of the fact that I was icing it, and the scar tissue was there, not being able to be broken down as I bend my knee. The second that I stopped icing, I was able to bend my knee a lot more better, a lot more easier the following day. And it allowed for me to actually progress with me pulling my leg so that it goes a little bit more past 90 degrees. And eventually, what ended up happening, I managed to get almost full mobility in my leg. So, advice number 1, don't ice too much. And advice number 2, if you're able to, and if your doctor gives you the okay, take a walk here in the park. Or if you have a treadmill or a bike, you could do that too. So honestly, here in the park, that's actually where I used to go to elementary school. And here in this park, that wasn't there before. Here in this park, it just brings back a lot of memories, only because it was just like very close to home. That's where I would used to live in the apartments, and here is where we would walk over to school. There was a trail. There was a hole in like the wall, so sometimes we would like go through there, and we'd just walk all the way over here to get to school. So overall, there's a lot of memories. That's Old Grove apartment. Here's Old Grove Park, and over there is the elementary school. Hello, pretties. Hello there. Is that Mama Duck and her little chicks? Yeah. I'll swim when I want to. And so advice number 3 would be overall just making sure that you're staying active, making sure that also you're not overdoing it. And also another thing would be working on your stability. So what I mean by that is when you are injured and you're no longer active as you were before, you kind of lose stability on this side. So an example would be, let's say you're deadlifting. Your deadlift would be weaker on the injured side. In my case, it would be the left side. So it's going to be weaker. And I was doing deadlifts yesterday, and I literally felt as if this side was just giving out much more than this side, which is normal. So overall, just working on the imbalances. And another advice I could give you would be to do exercises specifically to train those stability muscles. So right now what I'm about to do is just stand on this leg. I'm able to do it because I have a rod, but standing on one leg, you can grab onto something to hold yourself. Stand on one leg and try to keep your upper body in a straight line. Let it cave in on the right side and then bring it back out. So you do that for a number of reps, and that'll help you with your stability. So that's advice number 3. Another advice that I could give you is a workout called single-legged deadlift. So basically you're just standing on one leg again and slowly picking up a weight or just touching your toes. So something like this, like that. And that'll just help strengthen that left side. You can also have something here where you can reach down for more stability, of course. So overall, it's just like the advice that I'm giving you is just in different stages of your recovery. As your bone heals, in this case mine, as my bone is healing, I'm doing different workouts so that way when I do come back and I'm fully healed, I don't have to worry about my stability, and I don't have to worry about any imbalances. So that's one. And the other workout that I can recommend to you would be a stationary lunge. So basically just staying in one spot, placing your injured leg forward and focusing on slowly going down, which will help in just overall compression of that bone and making sure that this leg that's injured doesn't become like too atrophied compared to the other one, which is now my strongest one. So that's advice number 5. Alright, so the next advice that I'm gonna give is gonna be like more so in the beginning stages of your recovery. So when you finish having an injury, or when you finish having a surgery, it's very important that you actually move that leg, because what happened with me, I didn't move it as much before, and what I noticed was that literally my leg was downsizing within 2 weeks. It was already down half the size of my right leg. So that was due to the fact that I wasn't being able to lift my leg up as much, or not doing it frequently. So that was a result of that. But also because I couldn't place my leg down to put the average pressure that it would have beforehand. So overall, to try and mitigate atrophy or the shrinking of the muscle, some exercises you could do. You could be sitting down right now, and all you have to do is pick up your leg, like a quad extension. So a few reps of those, or even leg lifts like this. You could do that. Bending your knee would also allow for less tension here, or less weight, so that way you're able to pick it up. If you can't bend your knee yet, and you have it stiff in this position, you could be laying on the floor or in your bed, and all you have to do is try to just move it inch by inch. Once you are able to pick it up, the reps are going to be easier. It's going to be very difficult. For me, it was insanely difficult to pick up my leg at first, because it was not only in shock, but also because I was not using my leg for that duration of 2 to 3 days, because of the fact that I was bedridden in the hospital. So just be very mindful of that, and make sure that every day you are trying to move this leg, or for other people's cases, it might be your arm. But overall, moving the leg will assist in strengthening it, or overall just maintaining what muscle you have as it is. Another advice that I could give you is basically just for the mobility aspect of things. So for people who cannot bend their knees, this is something that most patients have trouble with. By what my doctor said, that they are afraid of basically pulling back their legs when they go through a surgery and scar tissue starts developing around the knee area. So essentially, there's a pain factor into things when you have to pull your leg and it's not budging. Let's say you're stuck in this angle, right? For me, I remember that my doctor gave me the okay to start bending my leg back. And I remember that same day at night, what I did was simply pulled my leg, brought it back up, and pulled it again. And each time I did that, I got more depth. So I gained more mobility doing that, as well as the fact of not being able to extend my leg too much. So what I mean is, right now, this leg here will not go back all the way. It won't extend fully. And something that I'm doing now, I'll show you, is laying on the floor, and actually flexing my leg down until this portion of my leg actually touches the ground, so where my calf area is. So I do a couple reps of those just so that way that I can break that scar tissue that I have and able to bend or extend my knee fully. So I'm still doing that because I still have built up scar tissue. So the more frequently you do that, the more mobility you're gonna gain from extending your leg. And the last piece of advice I'm going to give you, if you haven't already been training them, it will be training your calves. So essentially, the calf is a very important muscle. If no one already knows that, it's the gastroc and the soleus is connected through the Achilles tendon. So that Achilles tendon is actually responsible for helping you push off when you're walking, and it's one of the strongest tendons in your body. So something really, really important to do is calf raises, because calf raises is what will help you gain back that strength in your calves, and it would also allow you to walk better without a limp. Right now, I do have a slight limp, but it's been getting better and better throughout the week because of the fact that I'm incorporating more calves raises and more lunges. So my quad and my calves are getting stronger, and my hamstrings are getting more stronger through the deadlifts that I'm doing and that single-legged deadlift that I showed you guys. So. Okay, so that's my advice to you guys. If you're injured or you just went through a surgery, these are like some of the steps that you could do. And I know that if people are going to their PTs or physical therapists, you know, some of the PTs or PTAs are putting you through these workouts as it is, and this is specifically directed to people who don't have access to physical therapists or the assistants. So this is just to keep in mind in order for you to start progressing in your recovery. And once you're almost fully healed, you should actually feel way better than if you didn't do these accessory movements. A lot of people tend to forget that a lot of the compound movements, like your bench, squat, deadlift, they consist of mobility. It consists of stability. Those little muscles that you don't think need to be worked on, they actually do. And once you weaken those stability muscles, you're gonna notice a huge change in how your balance is. You're gonna feel one side stronger than the other. So all of that, keep in mind that you need to train those stability muscles and also just the weaker side, obviously, in order for you to get back to training. And as of right now, for me personally, again, it's gonna take me, I dare say, until the end of the year to be fully recovered. A bone doesn't necessarily fully heal until like 12 or more months. So like, subscribe, and comment down below what you want to see next. Overall, peace out.